Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing. You're watching another episode of Wingin It. If this is your first time watching, I'm excited to have you here because every week, we talk to a different business owner, and the goal is we all feel like we're winging it. And so hopefully you can learn from us, you can learn from our expertise, and feel like you've taken some lessons, learned some things you can implement. But ultimately, thanks for watching. So today, I'm excited. I'm joined by Cameron Okamoto, and Cameron is from a company called Boostability. Cameron and we connected recently. We had some really, really awesome talks. And man, Cam, I'm really excited to talk to you today, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I love the name of the podcast because I feel like we're doing that just now. So it'll be good.
Tell people a little bit about like your background, how long you've been with Boostability, and sort of what you guys do.
Yeah, so I think for the past 3-4 years, I've been with Boostability. How we got connected, right, is I reached out to you because we partner with marketing agencies, have a white label product, and help the fulfillment of SEO. But I think more so than that, we connected because we are both constantly selling ourselves. I do some work on the side as well and work with other business owners. I think we share a similar background. What you said, we started our careers in this, in the door-to-door space, and in sales. And so I think that's what I was excited to talk about, learn some things that are working for you and vice versa. And hopefully it'll be something that your audience can have some good takeaways as well.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited because, like you said, the way we connected, you called my phone one day with cold calls. I don't get impressed by a lot of them, but yours caught my attention. One, because you didn't feel salesy, but two, because you actually hit on a pain point that we were feeling at that moment. So, I'm curious a little bit about like your process with cold outreach, cold leads, how you got comfortable doing that, and things you've learned through being in that space for now 3 or 4 years, plus your door-to-door experience.
Yeah, I'd say with the cold outreach, it's to supplement what we already have, right? We can't control how many people see our ads or the conferences we go to. It's limited, so we want to supplement it. And for me, it's connecting with the businesses here, trying to find others that might have seen us somewhere as well. And I'd say the thing that I've seen the most success with is doing the research before, making it not seem like you have this huge list that you're just going down and having some information going into the call. I'd imagine I did this with yours because I try to do with everyone, where I'll take a look at the website. The problem we're trying to solve is fulfillment of SEO, and the RICP, it usually falls into a couple of buckets where they either already are offering it, and I'll ask them if I see it on their site, like let's say it says SEO. Can you remind me, does yours say SEO, or what does it say on your site in regards to that?
We offer SEO services. I don't think we go super in depth with the different kinds of services. And so if I remember right, part of the cold call was you said, oh, are you guys offering on site, or do you do Google My Business as well? I think was kind of an opening question that you were asking.
I'd imagine what I saw was not like a holistic SEO approach. Maybe it had some like local SEO on site, and it didn't really say anything about like backlinking or huge on the offsite work. And so just asking a question about that, where it's like, hey, when it says that you do SEO, could you tell me a little bit more about what your offering is for that? And it just opens up a conversation. I will say I learned that from door to door. I try to still like an artist type of thing, where you find the people that are massively successful in that space and just observe them, pick up tips and tricks that they're doing that you're not. But one of them that I think was doing very well, he would try to give me advice, and at the time it didn't really make sense to me, but now I'm like, okay, I can do it in this manner. But just start a conversation where for that, if you're not interested, you can say, yeah, not interested, and it's whatever. But usually most people aren't rude to that. Right. And they'll answer the question, and then now I wouldn't say their guards are down, but it's less that they're not going to give you the knee-jerk reaction of, no, I'm not interested. If I were just to pitch you, it's like, hey, we do white label SEO. Are you interested or not? You'd be like, no, not interested. I'm good. And so that's what it is for me, is just whatever strategy you can utilize to get into conversation the quickest. And then that way their knee-jerk reaction, or there's a book that talks about like their alligator brain, right? That's turned off, and now they're thinking, they're engaged in the conversation, and you can see if there's a pain point or not. If there's not, then there's no use in wasting anybody's time, right?
And I want to kind of break that down a little bit, because I think for people like you and I, where we've been in sales a long time, what we're saying probably makes a lot of sense. But if somebody's watching and they're kind of newer in business, it might feel like, okay, we're 20,000 feet and they're looking for 5,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
So you talked about like that opener and asking questions, like you said, like asking a question really breaks down the wall. And what I really liked your opener when you called me was, you can correct me if I get it a little wrong, but you said something to the effect of, yeah, my bosses just asked me to reach out about the SEO services that you offer. And then I think it was that question of, do you guys do just local SEO, or are you doing the content marketing, or however you phrased it, right? And, again, you're going to know your pitch better than I do, but I really liked it. One, it was that disruption, right? My bosses asked me to reach out. Okay, I'm a little curious. Why did your bosses ask you to reach out to me, right? And who are your bosses? Obviously goes into that. There's enough curiosity that I'm not just going to be like, I'm not interested, click. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can say I don't think a lot of the people that you might work with would benefit from this one. But the principles, I think, apply, right? If you're a marketer, because you're a marketer, I'm a marketer as well, and you're trying to find new businesses to work with, I think what works really well is having a framework, but not having a script where you're just reading it off, because people can tell in your tone, right? It just sounds very, I don't know. We both get cold calls, and I get cold calls because I cold call other businesses. I try to be very generous with my time when other businesses are reaching out. And I just tell them, like, I answer their questions and I'm like, hey, I don't think that this is worthwhile. But if they're not listening, right, and they just are going through, okay, if they say this, I say this, whatever, then it doesn't usually work out. So something that would help, let's say if you have an audience that are marketers that are looking for more clients, is, I think, everything in How to Win Friends and Influence People, follow it to a T in whatever framework you use. Similar to what I was reaching out to you about, because it's a little bit more complex of a sell process. I think we're trying to partner with you. Most businesses, when they're doing sales, are trying to sell their product or service. If you're trying to sell marketing services, then prospecting is very important, trying to find the correct business to work with. Where something I would do when I was outreaching to those type of businesses is I would look for businesses with good reviews, but not a ton of reviews, because that means they are a legitimate business. They're doing a good service to their clients, but they don't have a ton of business yet. If they don't have a lot of reviews and their reviews are bad, chances are they're a terrible business to do business with, and you don't want to work with them if you're a marketer.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the first thing, is prospecting is very important. When you have the right businesses in there, and I recommend when you're starting out, just start locally. Then reaching out to them, saying, hey, I came across your Google business profile. I saw that you had amazing reviews. I just wanted to see if it'd be possible to connect. That was generally my opener.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard for somebody to be rude for you after you just complimented them. So I know there's a lot of videos online of people saying like, hey, this is a cold call. I can have 27 seconds of your time or whatnot. That was a pattern interrupt. But now, because everybody's following that same framework and they're saying that, it doesn't work as well, in my opinion. Just being genuine, having a conversation, that's the framework that I went with, where it's compliment them, because there is something that you could find. And that's where I'm saying doing the research is important. So I would say how many reviews I saw that you had 6 5-star reviews. It looks like you're killing it. I read through it. Everybody likes Thomas, right? They're all mentioning your name. So obviously you're doing something right. But I just wanted to see if it'd be possible to connect. And for you, you have no idea what that's about. I mean, you might be a little bit on your guard, but when you say what about, now you're listening to the response instead of, hey, Thomas, I did an audit of your site. It looks like you're not ranking well for this, and this. Do you have 30 seconds to hop on a call? That's what a lot of other people, I think, are doing, or something similar to that framework, where it's like you just insulted them.
Yeah.
You just said that their website's doing bad, and now the knee-jerk reaction is to justify that or be like, hey, well, I don't really care about that. So
yeah, the walls
hopefully that gives some context as far as for marketers that are looking to find new clients through cold outreach. I think that's a better strategy to go with.
There's the pattern disrupt. There's the quickly asking questions about the pain points you solve. And then, like you said, like being respectful of the time and things like that. Like, that's what I loved. You and I were on the phone for 3 minutes? Maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember. But to your credit, right? I think you're open-minded, and for us, that's who we want to work with, right? People that are open-minded, they're willing to look at the things that they don't know are out there, and if it's a good fit, it's mutually beneficial. If not, there's no hard feelings there, and we try to find any opportunity that maybe we could work together. If we only do SEO, so if somebody's asking for something that you do and you do it well, more than happy to send it off your way.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just about having an abundance mindset, understanding what value you bring to the marketplace, and trying to be as helpful as possible, even though you're asking for other people's time.
Yeah. Well, and I think ultimately that's what it's about. Like you said, building that connection, building that network a little bit versus, oh, like this was a bad prospect and just cross it off my list. And so, that's why I think it's cool that, we connected through a cold call. We talked for 4 minutes, hopped on like a 30-minute call together, just kind of jived the whole time. The product wasn't the right fit for what we were looking for, but you were asking me questions. I told you about my podcast, and then you told me that you do some other podcast stuff, and it lined up to be able to do this. And so there's value for both of us now in being able to do this together too, which I think is really cool.
And can I ask, I mean, you have your fair share of sales experience, and you probably have more experience than I do. What is your guys' client acquisition strategy look like? Is it mainly inbound referrals? Do you do much cold calling on your own, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question for us right now because we're building our sales team. So I went to a business conference actually this weekend, and somebody gave the feedback, I wouldn't trust a marketer or an ads agency that's not running their own ads. And so I'm like, yeah, we had turned them off. I need to turn them back on. You know what I mean? Even just $300, $400, $500 a month. Like I need to be running those for the sake of that. That just clicked in my brain, total shift. I'm not turning them off anymore. So get that for inbound leads. And then I handed our outbound salespeople, I handed them these 2 lists that I've had for almost 2 years. I've had them for like a year and a half.
What kind of list is it?
Came in as like a mentor of mine. She was like, hey, we're offering these just lead services. It's 1,000 leads for, I was just like, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about it? She was like, actually, since it's a new service, could you just give me feedback on the list? I'll give it to you for free. And I said, I mean, that's a price I can not say no to. And then we've been so busy with referrals and word of mouth and the clients and hiring different people for different positions and stuff that I hadn't really worked that list a lot. I started cleaning it at different points, but now I've got these 2 outbound sales gals that are doing awesome. I mean, they've done a little bit of phone sales stuff, and it's fun because I get to flex this muscle that I haven't gotten to use as much. I built my business to about $8,000 a month just by cold calls.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got busy enough with word of mouth and stuff that, I pulled away from that. And now it's exciting to train up a team and be like, today we got on a call and they were like, hey, we're having trouble getting past the gatekeepers. All right, let's do some gatekeeper training. Let's talk about, what do you say when they say this? I'm not authorized to help with this, and this. Because right there, they're putting themselves against you, right? This is a principle that applies to everybody. So this is a business to business problem, but what I've learned is the principle, which is they're confronting you with a problem. You're nose to nose. And so what you need to do as the salesperson is go shoulder to shoulder now, right? Like now we got to solve this problem together. And you say, look, like I'm not trying to get you in trouble at all, Cameron. Like I understand you can't give me any information, but ultimately, like I don't want to waste any more of your time by continuing calling you from this list or having other people on my team call you. Like the owners, they asked me to reach out. They're just trying to get a hold of a decision maker over there. And if the answer is no, then that's fine. We'll take you off. But I just like, would you help me out and just let me know who would make a decision on something like this? You know, and then ultimately like balls in their court. Maybe that works 30-40% of the time. You know, the other times they're like, look, I just can't help you. And that's fine. They're going to be stubborn. You call them again, you build that relationship long term. You bug them 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and then you're like, Cameron, I'm so tired of calling you, dude. Can you just like who do I need to get a hold of so I don't keep calling you? You know what I mean? Like you wear them down a little bit. You build that relationship. But again, like when they put you nose to nose, you go shoulder to shoulder, right? Like you're working together, you're going to solve this problem together.
Yeah. I'd say, is it industry specific, the list that you got, or?
Yeah. So one is like construction and contractors, and then the other is like landscape and pests.
And I think that's why the research is important. Is oftentimes on their website, it'll say who you're talking to.
Yep.
If it's the office manager, then you're selling upward. It's the best if you can get to the person that would ultimately decide. But if you make them feel not important, it's never a good thing, right? If you're talking to the office manager, oftentimes you're making them look good. My approach was always, like I said, give value first, give them as much information to see them succeed. As the business owner, they care about that a lot. But then what we were talking about is B2B is different than B2C, but the principles are the same. What's important to the person that I'm talking to. And if you know what's important to them and you have that problem that you could solve, then it's just about packaging it in the right way. They're an interesting one. We've gone through many different type of lists like that where we tried like orthodontists, and that's typically you're never speaking to the person you need to, but selling upwards where if you're talking to an office manager, getting the info over to them and then trying to make it presentable where it makes them look good for having the information. They can do something with it, or just having tools to be able to get the context number, where when I had certain lists where I'm like, I'm never speaking to the person that I want to. So you can go on a website and then I don't know where it's pulling. It's pulling the information across the web. Like it'll find their LinkedIn and whatnot, and then it'll have their direct number on there sometimes. And so I tried the number, and a lot of times we get their cell phone number. And so we're talking to like, sometimes people are mad that they're like, well, how do you have this number? It's about trading your people, where it's like, I really have no idea. But my team asked me to reach out to you. So I could ask them like how we got the number. But like I said, making it conversational, trying to get in front of the right people. So I think that one's really cool. When you were talking about that, it reminded me of, what did you sell door to door?
So I did pest control for all 4 years.
I did pest control as well. What company was it?
It was Ninefold Marketing. So Greenway, Greenline, and Evergreen Pest Solutions are the office names.
Oh, interesting. Mine was Point. Well, the companies were on the West Coast, and then I think they have a place here in Orem because they recruit a lot from BYU and UVU, right?
Yeah.
But sales manager was phenomenal, and he since moved up a lot in that company. But I remember there was a training, and I was just soaking it all up. I wish I could do it again, because I think there's a lot of cool principles you learn. But he was like, if there's a mountain that's super high up there, he's like, always go to it, because chances are the other rep didn't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have gatekeepers, it's very easy to get discouraged by them. But at the same time, it's like, you know what, maybe this is a good thing, because maybe the correct person hasn't even been pitched yet.
Yeah.
Like I'd imagine they get a lot of spam calls, but if I could find a way to get through, it might be easier to sell after the fact. The markets that look really good, where it's like these expensive houses and this neighborhood, like, oh, this is going to be great. And they're like, dude, you're the 4th person here this week. And you're like, well, I didn't want to hear that, because now it's going to be hard to sell anything, right? But if somebody hasn't been pitched yet, then your odds are a lot better. So I mean, just something for them to know. I mean, like maybe you're selling them on if they're getting discouraged for just reaching gatekeepers. It's
Yeah.
like try to find a way around it. And there's a lot of creative ways that you could do that. You could try to find them on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a message. And then you could also, utilize these tools that it does take a little extra work, but oftentimes other sales reps, and I know because that's where I started out, they're just making the dials because their boss is looking at how many dials they make. And so you fall into something like that. And that's what you have to think. The other sales reps, they're just making the dials, but I'll take a little extra time to try to go around it. And chances are the person's never been pitched before.
Yeah, that's a great point. I especially when you're talking about if there's a mountain, I'm going to climb it because chances are other people haven't. There's so many stories in sales where you're like, oh man, like it's the end of the day, it's getting dark. I'm just going to knock these last couple houses or whatever. And you go and like, those are the best sales of the day or the first sales of the day or whatever. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
Like you said, like sometimes that's just how it is. Like you just go, you do the numbers, you do the freaking thing, and like you just do what you can to make it happen, right?
I am curious because you said you do some sales trainings for the businesses that you help.
Yeah.
What do you see are the biggest changes that they could make? Well, when I say biggest changes, it's like maybe the smallest changes they could make immediately that would make the biggest change for their business.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is creating a culture where this is what our employees do, right? Like our employees, they just upsell. So, off camera before this, we were talking about, I've got a client right now, they do carpet cleaning and they hire a lot of, younger college kids or just fresh out of college type age people. And, they're smaller, they're growing, they're trying to close these leads. They've been in business for 30 years and the owner finally 10 years ago decided, I don't want to be a one-man operation until I retire. I want to hand this off to my kids. So he started to build it. So now they have, I think, 7 or 8 employees. And so, I've been going in and helping them so that when they go into a job, it's not, the question isn't how many rooms do you have? Okay, here's what your bill's going to be. When can I get started? It's, all right, how many rooms do you have? Oh, I see you have pets. Does the litter box ever start stinking in this room? Of course the litter box stinks. It's a litter box. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, does the dog ever have accidents inside? Or where do the animals hang out the most? Do you ever smell like you ask these questions, but ultimately, like they had these things in place before. They were like, oh yeah, we'll pay you if you sell, pet cleaning services, or if you sell couch cleaning services. These are a little bit extra, but homeowners want them. But they didn't have a culture in their business where, oh, we offer these all the time to everyone, no matter what. That's what sales is. Sales is a numbers game. It's a skills game, but it's also a numbers game. So if you create those opportunities for your technicians, you say, hey, I'll give you, I forget what their percentage is, but this percentage of every upsell you make, they're happy because they're getting a little extra money. The customer's happy because they're getting the service they didn't know you offered. And then you're happy as a business owner because cool, yeah, we get to, we've got happy clients, happy workers, and that's all we need to grow.
So my takeaway is that it's the system and training then that's important, right? Where you need to have the incentive and it sounds like it's the technician that's doing the upsell. Is that right? They were quoted by a sales guy or quoted by somebody over the phone?
Just based on their square footage of their house. But they say, you're looking at about this, but once the technician gets out there, they can finalize your invoice.
Because and this is for me coming from observation, where it's like if the person's not incentivized, they're not going to do it.
Yep.
Right. So having the incentive and then having the training to make sure that they know how to do it, and then making sure that the reward's big enough for them.
Yeah.
Because the initial thing I thought when you were talking about that is, why would the technician upsell if they're the ones that has to do the job, right? Because they have to do more work at that point.
Yeah.
So it has to be worth it for them. But if you guys have the incentive structure in place and then the training as well, then I think it's really good for the business. Something that I saw, at least, our pest control company do very well is they had the technicians solicit for reviews, and they would pay them $10 per review. They would
Yeah.
make sure that it mentioned the name. The technician would coach the person how to do the review, and they're college students. So the company just had free SEO, like their Google business profiles are doing amazing. I haven't seen anybody in those areas have anywhere close to the amount of reviews they did. And so when helping businesses on my end for boostability, that's what I would tell them. I'm like, you need to coach your technicians, but you also need to incentivize them, right?
Yeah.
These reviews are worth it. If it's $10, like if you got to pay them $10 per review they collect, pay them $10 because they're at the job, and then make them do the walkthrough with the client, make sure the client's happy. And then that way you also avoid negative reviews, but it's a good system and process that they can implement into their business. Sounds pretty interesting. And I think that's what I haven't done a good job at, where we just do marketing and coach them a little bit.
Yeah.
But it seems like, what were you getting paid for the sales training, or what was your motivation to do that for the carpet cleaning business?
We kind of included that in their just general services. They brought it up as a pain point, and they're a client that we want to continue to work with long term. And ultimately, sales and marketing, they're not brothers, but they are cousins. Good marketing doesn't always lead to good sales, and vice versa. But if you have a very good marketing system and a very good sales system, you're going to the moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for us, it was like, hey, if we're doing SEO work for them, if we're bringing them more leads, but they're not able to close and upsell them, they're not long-term incentivized to keep working with us. And it was something that, is in my wheelhouse. I enjoyed doing it. I think in the future we could definitely upsell it to different clients. But for this, it was more of a, hey, let me try this. I think for businesses, a lot of times you can't shy away from trying the free thing once or twice. Like everybody, when they're starting out, we have to do something for free sometimes. And, even for this, I've been in business 3.5 years. I've never offered sales training to anybody. So I was like, let me go see if it's something that we could offer long term. And I think the answer became yes, but I'm glad we did it for free one time so that I could test it and see.
I know people do it, but it's usually not the marketing agency, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what kind of offer you land on, because it seems like a really good upsell.
Yeah.
I think you were saying that you're reading Alex Hormozi's new book.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's all about like what other things can you upsell? What kind of downsells can you have? What can you do to increase retention rate? And I think that one's a really interesting one, but I want to see what you land on. So if you don't mind sharing that with me when you do land on something, send it my way.
Yeah, I definitely will. So kind of going backwards a little bit, I mean, we talked a lot about like how sales and marketing feed into each other. For you, like with your sales background, and now you're getting familiar with the marketing and stuff like that, how do you feel like it's impacted your ability within boostability, your sales skills and your sales background? Like what did that bring for you as far as attractability to the company, or how do you benefit some of your guys' clients with your background?
Yeah, I think for me, I knew a lot about the principles behind sales. And so being able to apply it to a new context was the benefit for the company. Is it's always good to get a new set of eyes on something, where if somebody's been doing something for a very long time, then they're going to figure it out and they're going to find things that work well and stick to that, but they're not going to try new things. And that's where I think I benefited from it, where it's like, it's a new set of eyes. I have my limited understanding, but bringing a new perspective and trying new things like what you're talking about. I love that kind of stuff, where it's like, yeah, I mean, if it doesn't cost you anything to try it, it's just your time and effort, why not? And see what comes of it. So that was, I think, my contribution is in trying to find partners. What are the strategies that we can utilize, and what have they been doing to this point? What are new strategies that we could do? And I think there have been some suggestions that have panned out really well, where it's something, for example, masterminds. That's one that I was very familiar with, or high level, like these influencers on YouTube. I don't know if that's how you got into marketing, but they're affiliates for high level, where that's where they make the majority of their money.
Mhm.
They teach other marketers how to make a marketing company. If somebody signs up with their affiliate link, they get 40% of the SaaS revenue. And so that was, like I said, new set of eyes. That's how I think I benefited the company, where it's this very niche information that nobody was too aware of, I guess. And then how I benefited from the experience is it's a completely new context for selling. And I think it was very interesting. Prior to moving over to this team, I thought I had it all figured out, which I think many times people in sales they think that, right? And I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm ready to start my own marketing agency. And because I knew the client acquisition portion of it, and then I realized how many agencies are just white labeling the service, right?
Mhm.
And so just being okay, I have the sales side of things done and the client acquisition. There's these other companies that we could white label the whole fulfillment process, and then it's just about me managing the client at that point,
Yeah.
which I thought I had all the skill sets for. But I think to a point I do, but I'm a big fan of learning. And so when this opportunity approached me, I was like, you know what? There might be some things that I learned in doing so. And I absolutely have. It's a little bit complex of a sell because you have to sell the marketing agency owner or whoever it might be. It might be the owner, it might be like the CRO or their VP of sales. Other times it's on the fulfillment side,
Like an
right?
ops
So
manager.
yeah, so it's on both sides, which is interesting, and adapting to the person you're talking to. Like their pain points are going to be different. The ops manager's pain points are going to be different than the salesperson's pain point.
Yeah.
Salesperson pain point is, hey, yeah, we would love this new product to sell because all these people are asking about it, right?
Yeah.
So you're just leaving money on the table. The ops manager, oftentimes they're not getting the results they need to, or their white label company is communication, and sometimes they're even talking about how their sales reps are incorrectly. They're like, we hate our sales reps because they're incorrectly selling the product and we can't fulfill on it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting being on both sides of that and seeing their perspective. But I'd say, yeah, for me, opportunity in learning different sales contexts, and then being exposed to, we briefly touched on the difference between B2B and B2C, although the principles are the same, right? Find their pain point, package the information in a way that's digestible for them. But yeah, that's what the opportunity was for me. And now, because we're connecting with marketing agencies, being able to learn through osmosis, right? Being able to have a conversation with you, learn from the things that you're doing well and the things or maybe the problems that you're running into. I get to do that on a daily basis. So it's just
Yeah.
a win-win for me, at least. So
Yeah, well, and I'm sure that the long term benefit of you doing something like this is you get a feel for, hey, like boots on the ground. This is what Noisy Bird Marketing is doing. And let's say it doesn't have to be a podcast, but you have 2 or 3 conversations like this a week, even, and that puts you in a position to go to whoever in your company and say, hey, like I've had a bunch of conversations this week that these marketing agencies, they're wondering about this and this. Do we have anything for that? Or what are we doing right now? And or have we crafted an offer around this? Like you start to generate these thoughts and ideas and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think one more point to add on to that is the biggest benefit for me is going to these events. I get to network with
mhm.
other agencies and other vendors as well. And so I think starting out, there's no way I would be able to afford anything like that. Where I think some of the events, one of these ones that we're going to next month, I think they're paying like over 50 grand for the spot, but then also like to bring everybody there as well.
Yeah,
So like
plus
the
promotional
flights.
materials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd say like the biggest price is or biggest expense in that is paying to sponsor the event, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of the events that we go to. But then now you're in a room with people that they paid $1,000, $2,000 to attend the event. And so it's the whole thing. It's not about like what you know, but it's who you know. And I think when people are starting out, there's no way they could afford to pay to go out to an event like that, or at least the people that I've spoken to.
Yeah.
right? When they're just starting out their marketing agency, their concerns are like, I'm not going to be able to do this for much longer. I need to get a new job if I don't get more clients, right? So they're not even thinking about, maybe I spend $5,000, $10,000 to go to this event and network, and that might solve a lot of my problems because it's risky.
Yeah.
So hopefully that gives you some more insight as far as like where I'm looking at it from. The huge benefit is the people I get to meet. Boostability is willing to pay like $50,000 to go to an event to sell white label services for SEO. Oftentimes, these people that I connect with and become friends with, they have other issues, right?
Mhm.
So if I could create a solution for them in that one, boostability is very deliberately just staying within their lane. But it's kind of like what you talked about, where this is an upsell opportunity. I know boostability is not going to take the upsell opportunity because it's, yeah, I mean, we are very deliberate in why we only offer white label SEO services. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to do just that. And offering anything else would distract from that core offering. But yeah, for me, it's like, okay, this person's asking for this. Maybe I figure it out for them. And, it's, I don't have to pay for the event or going to it, the cost to connect with somebody.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine last night that, every business kind of goes through these cycles that, when you're starting out, you just say yes to everything, and then you kind of scale, and then you specialize.
Mhm.
And, he said, like, right now you're scaling, and then down the road, you're going to specialize. And like you said, like, there's so much power in knowing we are a white label SEO solution, right?
Mhm.
Like, if you need a white label SEO, if you have questions about white labeling SEO solutions, if you have questions about backlinks, if you have questions about content like all of this stuff, this is what we offer.
Mhm.
And then, like, we don't do anything else because the shiny thing that distracts our eyes from this is exactly what we do. And so often I think we get excited about those other shiny things that we can offer, so much so that we say yes to opportunities that end up costing us in the long term because our eye is not on the prize.
To bring it back to the sales side of things, there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
We've lost plenty of deals, I'd imagine, to somebody that wanted the vendor to have everything, right? And the con for them is that the quality of service for the SEO portion, and I'd imagine for all the different portions, is not going to be the quality of somebody that specializes in it. It might be more cost effective for them, but I will say, for me, I have clarity as far as where we positioned ourselves in the market. And so from a sales side of things, being able to say, okay, these are the the strengths and having it specialized, but these are the weaknesses as well, because there's a huge difference between an SEO and PPC, even though there's some overlap. The fulfillment side of things is completely different. And so being able to say, we put all our eggs in this basket, we do a very good job at it. But if you want something that's like, it's just one vendor, then that's what your trade-off is the quality of the service for convenience on your sake. So you just present the idea to them as far as like, this is pros, these are the cons, and that's what it is for anything. For on the sales side, I would love to be able to say we do everything, but yeah, that's just what it is okay, our service offering is fixed. So then now it's understanding the pros and cons of that, being able to have those conversations and close as many deals as possible.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I'll let you go here in just a sec, Cameron. I appreciate you sitting down. This has been really fun, and hopefully this has been super valuable for you as well. I wanted to close. A question I like to ask is, like, what's the best piece of advice you've been given in business? But for you, I want to adapt it to be like, what's the best piece of advice you've been given about sales?
Ooh, that is a hard one. I'd say I love sales because it's based off of relationships, based off of psychology. I'd say read How to Win Friends and Influence People, understand the principles really well, adapt it to your context. But something that when I started out, right, door to door, cold calling, cold knocking on doors, the some will, some won't, who cares next mentality, where I'm always going to put my best foot forward regardless of what happened before. But then having that mentality where it's like, next. If a deal closes, you're thinking, okay, put my best foot forward next. Instead of like, okay, well, got a lot of sales this month, so I don't really need to do anything, especially as a business owner. It's
Yeah.
easy to get complacent, but if you're not preparing for hard times, it's not going to be good for you. So I think it's not succinct or very doesn't roll off the tongue, right? But the some will, some won't, who cares next type of mentality, but then always putting your best foot forward. You didn't give me a lot of time to think on that one, but I'd say another recommendation is Jim Rohn. Are you familiar with that guy? He was like a motivational speaker. I think he might have been Tony Robbins' mentor, but he talks about the law of the harvest, and I'm pretty sure it comes from the Bible, right? So one of Jesus's teachings.
Yeah.
And that's what he was saying. It's a longer winded version of the some will, some won't, who cares next mentality, where it's like you need to sow good seed and some of it's going to land on bad ground. Some of the birds are going to get it. I think you would enjoy it. You should look it up, Jim Rohn's Law of the Harvest, and he does a phenomenal job on that one. But try to take away that whatever his principles are in that one and apply it to your sales process.
I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna check out Jim Rohn. I'm excited to read it. Along with what you were saying, I like for me, the biggest thing in sales is like counting your wins. If I knock on somebody's door and they open the door and F off, if that's here, I find a win on that door. Maybe it's, oh, you're still gonna buy pest control, right? Like I have that like in my back pocket, just because if somebody was just super rude to me, at least like I got a win on the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe I made them laugh, maybe I made me laugh, but like that door was still a win, even though that person was just a dick. Find those wins wherever you can. If it's a big thing, a little thing, I closed the deal, or I made that person smile. Like whatever it is, like I got a win.
Yeah, exact same mentality. We've all, if you've done door to door, right, you'll always have that experience. And I'd say whenever I had somebody like that, to be extremely reasonable with them, we've all been on the other side as well. So nobody likes somebody knocking on their door, and especially if they're busy. And I was never like that rude, pushy salesman. And so when they just come out cussing away, that we should be like, oh, dude, I'm really like sorry, but they keep cussing and then just laughing about it. That was my win in a lot of those scenarios where, like, dude, I don't feel like I did anything wrong. Like I never knock on the no soliciting doors, even though a lot of people preach it, because the same thing that we talked about previously, where it's like, okay, well, if it says no soliciting, then maybe they've never been pitched, right? But at the same time, I think your own mental state is very important. So do whatever it takes to put your best foot forward every time, right? So I like that mentality where it's like, even if somebody's cussing me out, like have a win, because that will make you be able to put your best foot forward on the next door. For me, it was just like not letting it get to me. And I've been cussed out. They got the cops called on me for no reason, even though I had the permit, and just laughing about it, being like, that's ridiculous that you would spend, I wasn't even trying to pitch you after that, and you would spend the rest of your day you got nothing going on, I guess. Same mentality as you, man. Get a win, make it so that whatever the next pitch is or whatever your next sales call is going to be, you can put your best foot forward.
I so appreciate your time. Thanks for sitting down.
Appreciate you, man.
Guys, what's the best way to reach you, Cameron? Like if somebody resonated with what you said, or is interested in some white label SEO services, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? Yeah,
I'm more than happy to help with whatever it is. If for some reason I tricked you into being impressed about sales or whatnot, I'm happy to have a conversation about that. I'm sure you could find me on LinkedIn, because there's not a lot of Cameron Okamotos out there. But I'm in the trenches with the people that we work with. And so, I mean, just love to connect. And even if it's just brainstorming ideas, more than happy to have a conversation.
Yeah. You're a good man, Cameron. Appreciate you guys. If you've been watching, thank you so much. Thanks for sticking around for Winging It. Hopefully you got some value. And if you did, drop the nugget that you got below. Say something that you pulled from this episode. I'd love to hear what people are learning. But until next time, we'll see you later.